Trump may have won re-election, but so far he has failed to convince a federal appeals court to revisit the jury decision that found him liable for sexually abusing writer E Jean Carrol in the 1990s and then defaming her when she went public with her story. The court denied Trump's request on Friday, just 6 months after he lost his initial appeal. It is the latest legal blow to his fight against unanimous juries in 2 trials and millions of dollars he still has to pay Carroll. All the while, she has been quietly doing what she does, writing brilliantly in extraordinary detail about the whole thing, beginning with Trump's repeated excuse and dismissal of her allegations, right there in the title of her new book, Not My Type, One Woman versus a President. Carroll writes this, quote, "I looks at me. It is the most intense moment of my life. My look says the thing I want to say. He tilts his head. He gets it. He got it. He got it good. I turned back around and faced Judge Kaplan and the attorneys at the sidebar, never to know what Trump was thinking. For the next 2 days, I will be in the witness chair, 18 paces from him. Trials are always duels, testifying about the wounds he gave me. He will never meet my eyes again." As for Carroll's plans for the damages awarded to her by 2 juries, a total of $88.3 million plus interest because of Trump's appeals, she writes this, quote, "I, E Jean Carrol, pledge to make Trump very, very mad by giving most of the $100 million to all the things he hates. If Trump despises it, women's reproductive rights, voting rights, climate solutions, etc., I'm going to be giving money to it." Joining us now is the one and only E Jean Carrol. Thank you so much for being here with us.
Well, Nicole, I loved that introduction at the start of your show. You proved how much he loves money and how much he's going to hate when I give away all that money to women's reproductive rights. Ah.
Has he given you, so he's given you nothing that he owes you?
Not yet.
And what is the mechanism for making sure that he pays up?
Well, this is a headline. Nobody knows this. Yesterday, his team is applying to appeal to the Supreme Court. So we just made headlines with this interview. He will go to the Supreme Court. They probably won't hear it. He keeps losing, Nicole. And that is why he'll have to, in the end, give me the money, and then I can give it to help bind up the wounds of all this democracy he's destroying.
I can't wait to cover that, those awards. I want to ask you about the process of writing. You were a writer, and writers write from a lot of different places, but I wonder if you could just talk about the writing process and from where you wrote this book.
Well, Nicole, I'm an old journalist, and I found myself in the middle of a play, a high comedy, surrounded by characters that not even Agatha Christie could have come up with. And so there was, you know, what kept me going was this, I just wanted to prick his balloon, prick his balloon. Also, he is rewriting history. I wanted to write the facts. So I use a lot of court transcripts, and I described what it's like being around Donald Trump, what he sounds like, what he feels like. He was so close to me, Nicole, I could have turned around and grabbed him by his hair. I could hear almost everything he said. It was an amazing and I gotta say, very funny and absurd and surreal experience. And that's what I wanted to capture. I wanted to capture what it's like beating the most powerful man on earth twice.
Well, what is it like?
It feels... That's funny. Nobody's ever asked me what it's like to beat Donald Trump. it's obviously so big that I cannot wrap my brain around it. But what it feels like is I feel good for all the women in their country. I feel that finally somebody knows the truth, although nobody paid attention to it, obviously, or he wouldn't have been voted into office. And I feel good that I got it down because, you know, it's very entertaining, and I think it's, I'm so knocked out by your question about what it feels like. It feels good. It feels fabulous. Okay, there.
Well, because I think we have, as women, 2 women went up against him and they didn't win. And so you are the rare woman who went up against him and won. And he has made this term about retribution. He said it. He said, I am your retribution. And he's been able to erase so much from the minds of his supporters, but he can't erase this. And I guess I want to follow up by asking you what you think that does to him, that this judgment stands.
Well, I won because I have the greatest attorney in the world, Robbie Kaplan. I mean, she was born with a lust for battle. She so upset Trump that in her closing argument, his face turned vermilion. He stood up during her final argument and walked out of the courtroom. So I really didn't do this. It was Robbie Kaplan and a great team of lawyers outthinking him, and Joe Tacopina, his defense attorney, and Alina Habba, his other defense attorney, who didn't know diddly squat about the law and who wore a diamond as big as a Ritz cracker and who wore little high heels, and some days her hair was long and some days it was short, and Joe Tacopina had a voice like a shotgun. My attorneys just demolished him. And Trump, no matter how he stewed at the defense table, he sounded sort of like raw sewage escaping from a leaky pipe. And he would slam his fist down and say, nasty man, like that to the judge. The jury was enthralled. They were stunned with delight because Trump complained and moaned and hissed and spit during much of the days in the court. When he'd leave the courtroom, he would say to the cameras, I'm the one who suffered. I deserve the damages. And he would look like Saint Sebastian tied to a tree, shot with arrows. And I've never heard anybody complain so badly in my life. And yet, we just beat him very, very badly.
What did you think when he won this time?
Won what? Oh, the presidency?
When he won the presidency, yeah.
I was stunned and upset, but I was ready for the ride, and I really want to every day, if we just all get off our lazy asses and go outside like we did on Saturday, open the front door. And the way you opened your show, Nicole, is the key. He loves money. He loves money. And he loves to be popular. We have the controls over here. All we have to do is lift his wallet. You made it clear. You made the case. If we all get together, we can scare him and make him behave because we control the purse strings. We really do.
What is it about you didn't just beat him, as you said. I mean, you and your legal team kicked his rear end, not once but twice. What is it that you understand from defeating him that hasn't translated enough, I guess, in our politics?
Well, when I looked at him in court, it was like the kid in the fairy tale. I could see, like the emperor has no clothes, except he had clothes, Nicole. But in the clothes is an old guy wearing apricot makeup and his hair like Tippi Hedren's in The Birds. we can deal with him. I do not know why everyone is bending the knee. Why are we bending the knee to a man who spends that much time on his hair and his makeup? Why are we doing that? It makes no sense to me. Makes no sense. And he complains and bitches and moans all the time. When is the last positive thing you've ever heard him say during this last 4 months? It's amazing.
What do you think the best strategy is? I mean, I think you alluded to it with the protests on Saturday. That drives him nuts, at least it used to, when people are out in the streets opposing him. He wants to do what he wants to do, even if it's illegal, even if it's immoral, and he wants to be liked. What does your defeat, based on the facts, based on your calm, cool legal strategy, and that you're still out there, and this book is this perfect combination of your brilliant writing and just the facts, the transcripts. How does that translate into how we, as a pro-democracy movement, should take him on over the next 3.5 years?
Nicole, it's so simple. We just have to stand up, get off our lazy asses, and go outside. That's it. That we're all in our houses being entertained on our phones and stunned, it's no excuse. I am an old woman. I beat Donald Trump. I am old. I am shriveled. I only weigh 107 pounds. I'm not particularly smart. But what I am is energetic. I think that's what it takes. And watching your show every day, get us riled up.
I think you're genius. I think you're gorgeous. I love that you're still writing about this. I mean, you were like his ultimate ultimate trigger, and the book is amazing. Thank you so much for coming here to talk about it, and come talk to us anytime. The book is brilliantly named Not My Type. One woman versus a president. Another break for us. We'll be right back.